So recently we re-recorded the Fifth Symphony for the 150 times. I mean,
by the time you are watching this video, yes.
Seriously, it's for the fourth time, and we made actually a podcast/video episode on the reasons why. We'll link that episode in the description box or somewhere on screen. Think about it. Otherwise, you will find it very easily. But in this conversation with Alberto, we were thinking like, it was actually a topic that when this morning we were working on some footage to bring footage together for making the Kickstarter video. The question raised like, what actually makes the Fifth Symphony so special? And I think both of us, we had immediately different ideas or different perspectives, and it's maybe interesting to talk about it because now we recorded 8 symphonies. The 9th will come soon, and the great thing about doing that, and several times, is that you dive into the music really, really, really deep.
Yeah, it's true.
So, what would be your first response to this?
I will say that what's great and why people love, the reason why people love this music is that it is, in a way, the message is simple, and the way it's written is, in a way as well, not too complex, but it's never obvious. That means that in any spot of the symphony, like your brain is constantly triggered by what's happening, even if nothing is actually happening. You know what I mean? And you also know that at a certain point, I mean, it's a piece that everyone knows by now, but you know that those moments unexpected are coming, and so it's a little bit I mean, of course, we are going to talk more about this and develop, but it's the essential core of this symphony, and maybe why it's the most popular still today of all the 9 symphonies. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's simplicity, but not in the sense of not being well made.
No, absolutely.
Might be the case.
It's actually the contrary. It's so well made because it's able to keep you on the chair with nothing. That's
To be honest, I mean, if we are completely open and honest, which we are always, of course. In the course of recording the symphonies and re-recording them and working on them, we had a lot of conversations like these micro conversations, like they happen when you practice, and little jokes or serious things. But also the question, like, if we would be asked to perform a symphony at the piano, this version, this transcription, which one would we pick? And you had always, we have no choice. It needs to be the 5th. And I was always a little bit hesitant. I said, for me, the 3rd symphony was for me like a revelation in sense of the complexity there, but maybe also because I come maybe more from the 18th century, and this is more maybe the most 18th century like symphony in terms of polyphonic structure.
But I thought is way more complex in all aspects, and then the 5th. What strikes about the 5th, it's not. It doesn't go in that direction.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
And the 4th is there maybe in between.
Yeah.
The 4th maybe going back to the 1st maybe, but in a different package.
Yeah,
the 1st is
although
more.
I can see stuff of the 5th, even the 4th, you know.
And later, if you take the opening of the 4th, but then we're talking about the 4th.
Yeah.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
Even when you said like,
I will say it's the first movement that makes, of course, the symphony so special. Of course.
Yeah.
It's probably the symphony that has the shortest first movement and most essential. It's not that it's simple; it's essential.
Yeah,
it's everything is in four bars, or even more in 4 notes.
If you see it from this perspective, I mean, the third symphony, if you just keep comparing those two, is in construction is massive. It's unbelievable that one person can just think of creating that and keeping everything in balance, the entire work.
But also you need time to enter into before the music really absorbs you completely in the third. In the fifth, you are immediately boom. You are.
But that's also intentionally done.
Of course,
you have no introduction in the fifth.
You are thrown there.
It's like boom. It's like, hey, where's your introduction? If it was a play on stage, the actors would already start without the curtain being, it's like the plot is there, like the development at the end was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if we say simplicity, what I learned with the Fifth Symphony is me personally. I mean, we both came from a different perspective. For me, the Fifth Symphony was not the most, how do you say that word in English? I'm looking for the right word, not to say something really stupid right now. But there was the one that I maybe struggled with the most to understand, to really, because of there's so less material.
In a bit the least accessible for you, maybe you want to, I don't know.
It's one of those pieces that when it works, it's unbelievable. Yeah, but you have to nail it. Like the third symphony is like a good Bach fugue. Yeah. Even play it, if you play it like terrible, that's still the Bach fugue.
The thing is that you don't have time to build the musical message.
But also not so much material.
Yeah, it's you immediately from the first four notes.
And that's the point maybe from the symphony. Now, having done it the fourth time, how many moments did we have now that I said like, I feel very stupid because now I see some connections that I didn't see first. Yeah. And you might not hear that in playing because when you play, you just do your job, you give accentuation. But when you see certain things in like, very simple things, like in the last movie, we talked about it in one of the previous episodes, like where I have just the second and third beat accentuation when the theme starts and the allegro movement. It's unbelievable. Now you see the connection. But this, from a composition standpoint, if you would be Beethoven and say like, listen, now I'm going to limit myself to pop, 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 pom, and the entire symphony.
Let's see what I can do with that. Yeah.
Then it's unbelievable.
And it's not only in the first movement. I mean, everyone knows that, but it's all over. It's repeated all over the symphony.
Yeah, the fourth movement is like, I do like C major a lot.
The second, absolutely. Second movement, you have the four notes pattern repeating. The third the scherzo as well. The last movement as well. It's all over the place.
But then it's developing. I mean, I can see the pattern there, and that he uses and reuses the theme. And I've learned on conservatory as well. There was kind of something new and thing. But I'm not so interested in that. Because, you see he's using the same note pattern, and so what? That's my reaction. You have to do something with it.
Yeah.
But in the first movement, that's all it's there.
Yeah. And it takes you all over the place with those four notes. So it's...
It's interesting to talk about this because it's in a way unsolvable. What makes the Fifth Symphony so special? Why it's the most well-known piece in the world?
In a way, it's unbelievable how we survived until today. Even if, like, for the tempo choice, like the musical message completely changed.
Yeah, it becomes a pretty aggressive piece if you speed it very. People play it today. It's like
but also in modern performance, I hear all the time the problems that the conductors and orchestras have to face when you take a faster tempo, which is sometimes in the movement the pattern, the motive, it's so concentrated and almost overlapping that when you take it too fast, you feel like you don't have time to catch up with the music.
But for the first movement, I understand why people do it, because it's much easier. The message changes, of course, the character of the piece changes, but the first movement, I wouldn't say in complete single beat tempo like people like Xander are doing it. It's
Yeah, but the problem is that the opening, nobody will ever dare to.
Xander does it.
He does?
Yeah. It's like unbelievable. You have that video on YouTube where he just jumps in front of the orchestra after giving a lecture, and without preparation, woof, and we go there.
Yeah.
Like, how can you?
Yeah.
The first rest of that piece needs to be like, and then
Yeah.
it starts. How can you do that?
Also, really knocking at the door like that.
Yeah, but of course, they will deny immediately that that's the theme. And unfortunately, Schindler confirms that. So it's like everything Schindler writes. But anyways, when you play it in our tempo, that movement becomes really difficult.
Yeah.
Because every detail matters, every rest, every accent.
It's a very
matters.
hard tempo to manage
Yeah.
in the most stable
Once
way.
you do it, once you're there, it's easy.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, it feels very fast.
Yeah.
What's so nice, I mean, one of the moments I remember, like, you have this passage where the theme, you have this theme, pop, 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 you have this follow-up of theme, and then suddenly we play one chord like for 4 bars. I want to give you this message.
It's in the climax, at that point you don't escape, and that's where it's what I meant. That's one of the passages where you say it's simple, but it's never obvious, because there you have the climax. Going to that part, ta 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 ta, which is the Neapolitan 6, and then you will expect like something, like you go to
it goes a half tone up.
1-4-6 or like 1-6-4, or like preparing a cadence. No, you have a silence, and then it goes to the diminished 7 of 5.
Yeah,
it's connecting as well, like things that harmonies that at first they seem not to have any connection.
Yeah.
But then he puts them together, and that could have been maybe something that I can imagine at the audience at the time. And this was unseen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you find exactly that in a Mozart symphony. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing some passages, and they can let us know anyways. So, but that's what I meant. It's never, it's simple because of the structure, but where he takes you with that, it's never like, it's unpredictable in a way. Like,
yeah.
How can you think? And you have that in the fourth movement, like before we go to the development of the fourth movement after the second repeat. We are in the G major, the seventh, dominant seventh in C major. And then to go to the A major, he just switched to dominant 7 of A major. Down.
Oh, I forgot. We're already there. No, well, I have to go to A major. Boom. No bridge.
Yeah.
Boom. There we go.
Yeah, no bridge.
Like, yeah. So the very stupid question to you would be, of course, it's a very, very, very stupid question. What's your favorite moment of the symphony? I mean, of course, because that's a stupid question because it's one piece.
Can I say it's the climax in that like stupid last movement where, but it's because of the Czerny transcription and the instrument where we have in the recapitulation.
We can show a little clip here
where you have the passage where it goes to. You have the bass, the F that comes like a
let's listen to it.
Let's listen to that.
was also one of those moments when we recorded the first time that we had to stop.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we just say like this was like something that was too powerful to handle because the instrument starts to vibrate, to shake almost, while people might think like we are pushing very hard, but it's the instrument that builds this sound.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable because if you would play like this in conservatory, besides the tempo, but like the way we are playing this passage, it's very stable, a lot of accents, and they will say it's too vertical. I lose the sense of the phrasing. But what is actually happening there? What is happening? What's happening? I mean, it's just harmonies that are repeated on the same pulse, and it's actually that you get involved only when you have this like sense of tactus. Actually,
but also, I mean, if you think about this, imagine you hear this for the first time. You have no idea where the phrase stops.
Yeah,
you have that feeling now. First of all, because of the too high tempi, and you have this kind of rush always over the beat, to the next one, to the next one. But you can also only have that feeling here because you know that when it stops.
Yeah.
But when you don't know that, and you have this feeling of, the tension is within the beat. Yaga daga 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 wada da 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 yada da da.
And then it gets every quarter note because your left hand.
It's building up by itself. So there's this relaxed, like you sit back as a listener, you don't have to feel anything.
Yeah,
I would sometimes like to
what do you have to
scream that from the rooftops. Listeners, audience, just sit back, relax, close your eyes, and don't try to feel anything.
Yeah.
Certainly not try to forget everything you heard before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, you just buy one record of one piece and you listen to that your entire life, because then exactly everything will happen at the same. But I cannot blame people. Yeah. But it's in a way responsible for this kind of tempi to break through so difficult. Don't rush to the next heavy beat. Feel the subdivision first.
Yeah, feel the subdivision.
Like in Renaissance music, but that's another topic. Yeah, no.
This is actually one of the highlights of the symphonies
For me, yeah, of course. I mean, it's a stupid question, but one of the highlights for me is in the middle section when we have crossed hands, like you playing the tenor and the soprano.
In the second movement, when you go to the A flat minor.
There happens something that is like.
But that's why also it's the same pattern. It's never obvious because you come from a movement. It's A flat major. You go to C major, and then go back to A flat. But then when you go back, you have this. You remember, like after the climax, there's this section where you're in the dominant, so you have a E flat seventh, and he repeats that for like I don't know, many measures. And then you know that it's coming. It's like okay, it's going back to, it's preparing to A flat major. And then he brings back the first theme in A flat minor in the most simple way.
Yeah.
And that's what's striking. It's simple, but it's not
But
obvious.
It's one of the only moments, and I have to say, of the entire if you play, you as a player, there's a little room that you leave emotionally always, because you have to be on top of your game. You have to. Yeah. But this is one of those passages I struggle really. The music comes really close here, and I must take distance, and it's so hard.
Yeah.
Maybe we can share that passage as well. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It comes out of nowhere, eh?
Yeah, you have a E flat, E flat, E flat, and you know it's coming, and then it's A flat minor.
But also the way he constructs that, it's completely unannounced, actually, unexpected.
that's why.
And every time it catches me by surprise.
Yeah.
Every time we're there, like,
But there we have to give credit to the transcription, because he makes it in a way so you are playing the subdivision and the accompaniment. I have the theme, but we are crossing hands, and the piano also there gives like a clarity in all the register, because you hear the theme in the really high register, but also in the tenor range, and in
my notes as well,
and the subdivision as well.
It's so difficult. How long do I hold the first note of the 4/16 because they're the melody?
Yeah.
But if I do it too much, the attention will be on my accompaniment. Yeah. But when I do it not enough, it's like
it's flat. Yeah,
it's a little flat.
Yeah.
So, and also the touch there to give all the room to your melody there, while in the bass should be the rhythmical response, like not too hard. It's a very difficult place to play.
It's pulse and sound and touch at the same time, and then the two of them must work together. So you cannot compromise on.
And rhythmical precision there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in a very weird position.
Yeah.
Physically also. I mean,
we are,
lucky you're not a girl, because it would be. I mean, I'm no kidding. I mean, it would be embarrassing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not that I like touching your body, so I mean,
it works like this.
You know what? I mean, but
work with what you have.
Yeah, exactly. But Czerny deliberately did that for you have the entire range of the piano. And I would imagine when you play this on a little later piano, like on the Erard, you would use the left pedal. It would make your life so much easier. We can do it on the Fritz, but we never uses that because you lose the clarity in the treble there. And so you have to be very controlled, and precise at the same time. And when people are not used to play on a fortepiano like that, they have no idea how hard it is.
No.
You cannot go into the key to play soft. You have to go out of the key and then play soft, because otherwise you don't have sound.
Yeah.
And it's easy
and the
to
piano,
go.
it's a piano that it's anyways unforgiving.
But here, I mean, you have 4 different registers. There's nothing to hide. When you make a mistake in like not following the bass here, the rhythmical pattern is lost. When I go a little bit too loud, there is like
everything is also twice the difficulty, because we don't use the pedal as it is indicated. So there you are even more exposed. Because you could use the pedal and it will cover up many problems in releasing the notes, but
then you would lose here the entire effect,
and like the entire clarity.
But if you would play this with an orchestra, I mean, we talked about feeling the pulse or the line, and you would say to people, just sit and close your eyes and let the music happen. Let it happen. Also to the musicians. You don't have to do fancy stuff.
Just
like in an
do
orchestra,
your job.
Just give the accents, but let the music happen from this notion of young dun 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 dun, and then suddenly you see this mountain, right? And that effect is because you are relaxed as a listener. You don't expect anything like rushing forward. Your heart opens. It sounds really, really like sheep, but it's what happens.
No, it is.
There is no resistance to that.
Because you are relaxed. You are ready to receive the musical message.
And it's not passing through your brain. It's going through this. So it's one of the most beautiful passages of the entire, of the entire symphony set.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking, I mean, often say like, which symphony do you, and it's so hard to say. It feels also like you are not thankful enough when you pick one.
Yeah, that's true.
You go to a symphony and that's the greatest symphony that you're playing.
It's true. You don't. There are certainly symphonies that are more like tiring. They require more, in a way, more focus into the musical message. For example, the third, or I can totally see the ninth to be like that, or the sixth, because there it's more complex than you have to do your job, but it requires also that you maintain a level of focus that which the music
maybe a little bit more intellectual.
Yeah, exactly.
It's maybe like the third symphony. Could you compare it to the Septet Opus 20? It's also one of those pieces that
E
are
flat, same.
I hate that key. I love it, but I hate playing it on the fortepiano. And Beethoven likes it so much.
But it builds, like you need to build it up step by step.
Yeah.
And here, okay, it's difficult because everything to work, to have the effect must be in place. But once it's there, the music does its job. And
the most stunning effects are in the Fifth Symphony, actually, if you think about it. There is one other spot, huh?
Which the modulation,
the A-flat,
yeah, that one. It's like it's the Bremar.
We use that a lot in videos.
For those who are like longer time on the channel, we use that as a
bridge between the introduction and the body of the video. Yeah,
because it's very intriguing. You are in the scherzo, everything is C minor. Then you go like dominant, and then the bridge happens with a modulation in A flat to go back to.
When I listen,
this one is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I'm so sometimes when you listen to that and you could say like, yeah, win with your bias to it. How can you doubt this to be what Beethoven had in mind?
Yeah, it's what's the other way? What could be the other way? Twice the speed.
I mean, the grandeur that you have now, and then you go to A flat, F major. It's not even, and he keeps you on that plateau. And you say, I don't feel a line. There is no line there.
But it's actually, the tension there is created by this, like this heartbeat that bum, 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 bum. It's exactly how they build today tension in a soundtrack for movies. Like if you watch, I don't know, any, we don't say that, but it's vertical. I don't feel the line before the exorcist comes.
I never heard that remark. It's vertical, but it's started.
For me, it's all my life that I hear.
Seriously?
That. Yeah, it's you compromise on any rhythmical precision. In order to, they will say, yeah, here I don't know, I can totally envision like a teacher or a conductor saying to me like, yeah, but here I have to ta ra ti ti ta ti ti. I need to feel like this line, overlooking completely this pulse that it's there, and I will say like it's the opposite. You have to be a machine. It works only if you are so precise that. It's that builds the tension, not that melodic line, which is not even like it's just playing a little bit around with a pedal and harmonies.
But where do I read in historical sources that the melody has the power to overrule the rhythmical preciseness?
No, nowhere. It's just built. It's built above that, but the foundation is there, and it works like that. And again, when he prepares the cadence and then goes to this A flat, it's like you see this huge door there that it's about to open, and where you actually...
It's a vacuum there.
Yeah.
It takes a listener into a space where nothing happens.
Yeah,
but there is like, what is this chord doing?
Yeah.
It gets so much attention.
Yeah.
It's like you open a door and it's not there what you expected, and you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and then it's actually opening the real door.
The allegro is coming.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be there as long as you can.
Yeah, and then you are thrown in this world of like when you actually open the door, you see like this huge building, a castle or mountain. I don't know, like something that it's bigger than the human's mind.
I would be speechless when we would play this for people, or just let this listen to people, and they say, it's vertical. I would say it's a lost case. If you don't hear the power of this music, if that doesn't take you separately from being right or wrong, if this doesn't take you here, then there is something wrong with you as a musician. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you don't...
And it's not because we are
open for the message.
It's not because we are the greatest player, but I mean, this is just overwhelming.
Yeah, by doing nothing.
And then, I mean, not talking about tempo here, but still, I mean, we cannot avoid that. How are you going to play that when you have the 16 notes in the left hand? I mean, how are you going to do that?
You don't do that.
And then you get this nonsense like, but Czerny didn't mean you to play in the tempo of Beethoven. That's why he
Citation needed.
That's why he said it's the slightest deviation in time destroys the entire composition. So he made the transcription of the Fifth Symphony,
not to be played
knowing that it wasn't possible. No, it's. I mean, we're far from what makes the symphony great, but actually we're very close, because if you change the tempo, you do change a lot. So like you said at the beginning, it's surprisingly that the Fifth Symphony still is so popular, because the message is taken so far away from what Beethoven had in mind.
It just means this, that the piece is so written that no matter how you play it, it will always be like...
I heard a message. And I might make some videos about it, or I already have by the time we upload this. That the theme of the symphony was apparently also in Morse code, the V of victory.
Okay.
And it is a book written about that, and even Gardner comes into the podcast. It was and he says like, it's totally there. It's the French Revolution, the age of enlightenment, all this kind of stuff. And then he has been asked to, but the 108 is so fast. Can you manage that? Barely, but it's kind of muddy. I'm just paraphrasing here, but that's right on spot on the message of victory, right? Like all this muddiness together, like we can barely manage, but it's the message there. I mean, and then you think like you spent your entire life studying this, and that's what you come up with.
Yeah,
we can barely reach a tempo. It's
not even a presto, by the way, or a prestissimo.
Going into notation, this is a kind of slow notation. They use this for slow music.
Yeah, but also
the tempo indications there are sometimes very fast because they wanted to compensate this, but this is definitely an eighth note notation that goes back. That's a real Alla Breve. In this case, it's 2/4, but it's an Alla Breve notation with eighth notes that's supposed to be played in a heavy, legato, serious way.
Yeah, but if we wouldn't know the theme today, and I will make an exercise of dictation to students and say, write the rhythm, and I play in two different ways. One is in our way, the other way is as we play today. They will write a triplet of 16 notes that ties into a downbeat.
Do you know this remark was already made in the 19th century, that when they heard orchestras play, they said, I think it's Krüger who made the remark. He said, well, this played so fast, you don't hear eighth notes anymore, you hear triplets.
Yeah, and I guess solfege is the basic of any musical education. And so, if we actually look, we can talk about the reading of the metronome. But if we look at the notation, I see 3/8 notes, not a triplet. And today, and even before I saw the notation for the first time when I was a kid, I always thought that there was a triplet. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, but if you talk to people like Gardner or even Van der Mussel, I think heard like they mock also musicians who play it like a triplet, but they forget that in their tempis, every listener perceives it as whatever you do.
Okay, but then explain me why you are playing like that, and
you cannot play in that tempo.
Something else in the score, huh?
Yeah, but even if you play it as it is written in the score, the listener will hear triplets. It's going so fast.
Yeah.
You have to give an accent, a little accent, or maybe like, I mean, we talk
at least to mark that that's the second beat of the bar.
Yeah, for instance. Yeah. So that remark of Gardner was for me like, how is it possible? And there's not something in your mind that says like, and how are you fighting this? Because if you always have to fight to reach the tempo, where's the joy? Yeah. What we are doing is like we learn the tempo, really learn the tempo, even with the metronome ticking. But once you have the tempo in, we just play in the tempo. We don't have to fight the pulse.
Yeah,
the pulse is just there.
There's nothing else to say, actually.
Your heartbeat becomes the pulse. I mean, 108 will be a little bit too fast, but you have the feeling that it's in your body.
Yeah, but at that point, you actually feel it is fast, huh? When you connect it to the notes, it is fast.
Sure. And it's no surprise if you see Gardner. I mean, turning this conversation into something tempo research, but if it's important to talk about the message. If you fight that tempo, if you fight that pulse, where is the music? But also, if you see him conducting, the effort he needs to do to keep his orchestra at that tempo, it's the maximum
effort to push them, to keep them
there. If he would stop conducting, the orchestra would slow down by itself.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I mean, it's normal.
They're so far away from and that's a little bit, I wouldn't say frustration. It's like that's not a frustration because you say it often like people do whatever they want. We just share this. But this message of that music is so powerful in this way.
It's so clear. It's I personally now I cannot think of another way.
Yeah,
it's just that.
So returning to our opening statement, what makes this symphony so great? I would say to close this talk, what makes
tempo choice.
What makes great music
great tempo, Beethoven.
No, the question I ask often, what makes great music great?
Yeah.
And this is, of course, one of those, we have gone through that, like the simplicity, quote unquote, and all of that makes it maybe into the most popular symphony. But we're not going to choose. Mm-hmm. The title of this video or podcast is not that it's our preferred symphony. There is nothing to be preferred there. It's all, we are humble and thankful that, I mean, history just gave us that. Beethoven just gave us. And we're not talking on Haydn, Mozart, Schubert, and all the. I mean, it's unbelievable what a luxury we have. And yeah, so enjoy the recording. I would say it will be on YouTube by the time this releases, and we might have also introduced our Kickstarter campaign when it's over. As always, then don't worry. Hopefully, we have produced a physical products, CD and vinyl. Go to our web shop or our website, and you see them there. And if not, don't panic because we are building our audience for the physical releases, and we will get there where we want. And what we want is actually very simple. Share the message and hope that you enjoy this music in the way we do and as much as we do.
Absolutely.
That's what it is all about. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks you for the conversation, Alberto.
Thank you.
Up to the next one. Bye.
Bye.